Hi, this is Hallie. I usually have been working on financial coaching and professional coaching and how to run a business or get yourself in the best energy in your professional life or um, when working with clients or setting your intention for what you're doing in your day-to-day career or that kind of thing, whatever your dedication is. But I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about all the stuff that's going on in the world. You know, there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of stuff that feels like it's falling apart, or at the very least, shifting. Um, Things feel a little wild out there. There's a lot of us versus them that's out there. There's a lot of blame. There's a lot of historic blame, and sometimes it's a lot, and sometimes it's challenging to overcome if you've lived with certain perspectives your whole life. It's very hard to just um, change your mind overnight, and it's hard. It can be hard to get a different perspective or accept a different perspective. Part of my own journey has been that ultimately I and I alone am responsible for whatever is going on in life. And at times that have felt kind of overwhelming, and it felt like things went on in my life that were very much outside of my control, and I felt very hurt by them. And I wanted to continue to blame others for whatever circumstances I was facing in life, or whatever I felt that those experiences kept me from achieving or accomplishing in life. The fact is, it is truly us that has the power to change our own life, even when things feel extraordinarily difficult or very, very challenging, or when it feels like there's no way out. There truly is, and sometimes it takes um, a lot of concentrated effort. Sometimes it takes all our will to focus on being constructive and shifting things in the way that we feel um, are more beneficial for us and for everyone overall. This applies to a number of things in the world. There's so much talk about um, there's talk about there's so much racial stuff that's going on. There's so much financial stuff that's going on. There's so much gender stuff that's going on. There's gender identity stuff that's going on. Bullying is another aspect. All these things are going on, and there begins to be a battle for who gives who what and who is responsible for changing. Ultimately, unfortunately, we never truly have the power to change somebody else's mind. We can present our case, we can do a certain amount of explaining if the other party is willing to listen, but ultimately, it's what we do with our own life that is going to make the change in our experience and make our change for ourselves in the world. That said, it doesn't mean you never stand up for your rights. It doesn't mean that you don't, um, you know, at some point insist that the world listen. But it's a constructive thing and not a destructive thing, and it's not an us versus them thing. Um, for all of us, there's a lot of fear, and prejudices come up from fear or an irrational fear or thought, and or an insecurity, and somehow, somewhere, there's a thought that it's something outside ourselves, so this other party is responsible for our challenges, for our demise, for all those kinds of things. Life will reflect what we believe, and sometimes far more than we would like it to. And so, again, it can be extraordinarily challenging in shifting those things. But the big thing is to know that we have the power to shift things. Um, I could go on a lot, and I hope that this is helpful. Um, for myself, it was, oh, I'm not getting where I want in life, or oh, for some reason I'm just not getting the opportunities that I want. Is it something about me, or is it something about the system, or just life in general, or maybe I'm just flawed and I'm just not supposed to have those opportunities. It took a long time for me to see where I was putting my energy and where I was being constructive in life. And it took a lot of time to shift those things around. Like, I had to focus on what I was contributing in a positive way, whether it was with my job or, um, you know, uh, my job, my finances. Um, I started volunteering in the community, so I was in a place where I was giving to the community rather than asking, well, am I accepted by this community, or am I embraced by this community? Um, what do others think about me? I had to give that up. In the end, shifting myself from a place where I was worried about what I was getting, what I was not getting, what had been done to me, what I had experienced. Once I took it to, shifted that to a question of, um, what do I have to give? How do I go about giving that? Where is my contribution? How do I set my intent to provide an authentic contribution, no matter what I'm doing, whether it's how I'm driving in traffic, or, if I'm working on something complicated at work. Even if I'm in a place, I'm at work where I'm walking to the bathroom and there's a piece of trash on the floor. How do I want to interpret that? Do I say that somebody else has the job to pick it up, or do I go ahead and pick it up myself? The more and more where I shifted myself to a point of giving, or being intentful about offering of myself, the more and more my life shifted, and the more and more that life started to offer to me. And some of this stuff is very challenging, like, a lot of us have some pretty deep wounds that can be hard to get past. They can be very, very hurtful and go very deep. Still, taking those actions to see where we are contributing, where we are giving, that actually ends up giving us a lot of personal power. It strengthens us. It changes our perception of ourselves from being a victim to be, wow, oh, I can do this, or I'm having this positive effect in the world. Those things really do matter. So I hope that this is helpful. Um, again, it applies to every aspect of your life, whether finances, social, relationships, job, all these kinds of things. Um, you have the power to change anything, and you're more powerful than you know. And sometimes when you're faced with these extraordinarily challenging situations, even though you wouldn't ask for them in a million years, they can be opportunities for you to find that, more expansive, ultimately unlimitedly powerful being that you are inside. So with that, I'm going to leave you for tonight, and um, Take care, and you can do it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.